Hey, welcome to Janktown. Will here, bringing you guys another deck tech primer, this time on Teysa, Opulent Oligarch. Since you clicked this video, you probably already know what she does, so we'll go straight into the commander analysis, give an overview of the deck's 7 different themes, then get into specific card choices, and we'll end with cards that just didn't make the cut, cards I like to call the 101st. So if that sounds good to you, I hope you can leave a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and let's get into it. One of the first things I do when trying to figure out how to build a deck is figuring out what is the role of our commander. And I was kind of torn on this, but ultimately, I slotted Teysa as that of an enabler rather than a build-around. Well, what's the difference? A build-around commander means our game plan revolves around them being there, and a lot of our cards in our deck are slotted in specifically to synergize with them. And while at face value, it looks like Teysa is a build-around because, you know, it's undeniable, she makes a lot of clues. Generating 3 clues in one turn cycle is a lot. Dealing the life loss to multiple opponents, not that hard either, especially if we load the deck with like pingers or drainers. We can also get her benefits on the same turn because her ability also triggers on our end step. However, she is just a 2/3 that doesn't really protect herself, and her abilities are quite loud because she makes burst tokens. I think it'd be more subtle if she made one every upkeep, but with the way it's worded, she really sticks out, and this makes her a juicy target to pick off. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if she gets expensive just from commander tax, and ultimately, this is why I moved away from making her the centerpiece of our deck, because if she's gone, all we're really left with are just a bunch of bad pingers. That said, she's still gonna be one of the best cards in our deck that'll just help take it to the next level. The main focus of our deck will be making lots of clues and using those clues as synergy pieces. Orzhov is a popular color for like Aristocrat shenanigans, but I wanted to move away from like the creature version of that, so no Zulaport Cutthroat or Blood Artist here. And what I really wanted to do was focus on what makes her unique, which is all the clues that she's pumping out. Aristoclues, if you will. And while we usually need to flood the board with clues to win, what makes her so versatile is that these clues can also be used for card draw. So spend them if you need to, don't be afraid to use them because, you know, we'll be getting more of them anyway. Now, our path to victory usually relies on having that one explosive turn. So hold on to your bombs so that they don't just get swept away. As at the time of this recording, as per MTG Goldfish, this deck clocks in at just under $80 at $77.80, excluding our lands and our commander. These 7 different themes of our deck cover our usuals of ramp, removal, and draw, but we'll also be playing a bit of clue with witnesses, investigators, culprits, and something we like to call UBP or utilities, bombs, and pets. When the game is afoot, we need witnesses to give us the clues to solve the crime. Novice Inspector, Throbbing Inspector, and Serene Sleuth all make clues when they enter the battlefield, and Will the Wise can make a bunch of clues when he both enters and leaves the battlefield. Now, usually opponents will just eat the 1 life to deny you all those extra clues, but what's neat is with Teysa, it's sort of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. You'll be making the clues on your end step if they decide to take the 1. For some repeatable sources of clue generation, we have Sarah Jane Smith, who makes clues when we cast a historic spell, Wojek Investigator, who can create a clue or a bunch of clues in our upkeep, and Bygone Bishop, who makes clues whenever we play a weenie. Now, outside of creatures though, we're also playing non-creature clue generators in Armed with Proof, Search the Premises, Thorough Investigation, and Tameo's Journal. Now, the journal can also be really powerful because it acts as a tutor, and usually we'll be looking for a wipe if the board state is looking kind of scary, or we could be looking for one of our culprits, which I'll cover later. Lastly is Homicide Investigator, which is a death trigger clue generator. Now, I kind of go back and forth on this card. Right now, I'll take it because at least it's another source of clue generation, and there aren't that many great ones in Orzhov that are costed this efficiently. Now that we've gathered enough clues, we need our investigators to start using them. Bartolome del Presidio, Arcbound Ravager, and Syndicate Traffer are ways to sacrifice multiple clues en masse, and we can use them to make spirits once a turn or power our win cons. Greg Recycler, Lobelia, and Acolyte of Aclasots can also sacrifice artifacts, and they do tap themselves, which means it's limited to once per turn cycle, but I do like these because they can ping, and I know we said we aren't building around Teysa, but having pingers to power her while also being a sack outlet is kind of like the perfect sweet spot for me. When we're done investigating, we know who done it, and the culprits are gonna be the killers of our deck. Nadier's Nightblade and Mirkwood Bats turn clues, or any token really, like spirits or treasures, they turn it into damage for all of our opponents. Disciple of the Vault, Agent of the Iron Throne, and Marionette Master are more specific towards artifacts, but they're also extremely efficient in closing out games. Even more specifically, Persuasive Interrogators dish out poison counters when we sacrifice clues, which means 5 clues equals 1 dead opponent. Finally, there's Carmen, who gets bigger whenever any permanent is sacrificed by any player. The recursion is a nice bonus, but she is our top curve creature if we need to start throwing hands. UVP time! Now before we start sacrificing our clues, we can benefit greatly from them being on the battlefield. Thousand Moon Smithy is a 4-drop artifact that can make gnomes with power and toughness equal to the number of artifacts and creatures we control, while Cranial Plating is an equipment that we can equip at instant speed and make an unblocked spirit huge to take out a big chunk of life. Merchant of Truth gives clues exalted, meaning it can give a soul attacker like a big +X if ever we amass a lot of clues. Now to help supplement our token game, Thelise makes a spirit for every clue generated, and Master of Ceremonies, one of my longtime pet cards that I'm just really glad has a home in this deck. It's not a clue maker, I know, but it can create up to 3 creatures, 3 treasures, or draws up to 3 cards on our upkeep. Last couple cards on this list are a pair of Extort spells. Again, to supplement Teysa with their pinging, but I find the life gain pretty relevant too, and I like how both Blind Obedience and Thrall Parasite have like sideboard abilities that might be relevant in a pinch. Time for ramp, and while our curve is low at like 2.8, we still want to bring in the staples of Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Bauble, and Mind Stone. Now I like that we can actually sacrifice Mind Stone later just to get one more artifact in our graveyard. I mean, you never know. Cryptolith Fragment is a 3-drop utility mana rock that pings whenever it's tapped. This is great for triggering Teysa. I also value creating treasures in this deck, and Zentrim Bandit and Marching Duodrone both make treasures when they attack. The Duodrone I don't think anyone really wants to block because everybody wants a treasure, while Lotho can accrue so much value over the course of a game. Now a couple of big time mana producers are Inspiring Statuary. Honestly, I'm a little torn on this card because our curve is low, but it seems like it'll do work because we just got a lot of clues. Probably gotta play test this one to see if it's worth it. But a card that always does work is Ashnod's Altar. We aren't running traditional aristocrats, but still, this is a house. We can cash in a clue to create a spirit, later cash in that spirit to crack a clue. Just a terrific synergy piece, even without making it a whole combo piece. While we build up our engines, we need removal to keep us from dying. Rite of Oblivion and Invasion of New Capenna, versatile exile spells, with the backside of New Capenna potentially becoming relevant if ever we accumulate a respectable board of spirits. Teysa Orzhov Scion can be a nightmare to deal with because our commander makes both black and white spirit tokens. So we can cash them in to exile a creature, which then creates 3/1/1 white spirits, which we can then cash in again to exile another creature. Some clue generating removal is Foul Play and Foreboding Steamboat. Now the Steamboat's almost like a mini wipe because it exiles 2 creatures per player, and that might hurt us, but we have creatures like Throbbing Inspector to give up. Now, speaking of wipes, we're bringing asymmetrical board wipes in the Battle of Bywater, Expel the Interlopers, and Austere Command. Now these can wipe the board of many of these scary threats while keeping our spirits and our commander intact. Lastly is Heliod's Intervention, which we can use to pick off like the troublesome artifacts and enchantments, or if we don't have a sack outlet, we can use it to blow up our own clues to trigger our culprits. Clues let us draw cards, but we still need to supplement that with a decent draw package. Ichor Wellspring is an artifact that draws when it enters and leaves the battlefield. Welcoming Vampire triggers whenever a weenie is made. Braze lets us cash in 1 clue, and if our opponents don't want to sacrifice an artifact of theirs, we can potentially create up to 3 clues if Teysa's out, as well as drawing us up to 3 cards. And Ayara is, yes, another pinger, but more importantly, she lets us cash in these black and white spirits for card draw. Some sack-based card draw are Deadly Dispute, Fanatical Offering, Tyrant's Journal, and Chronomancer. And some of our premium card draw is the ever-reliable Skull Clamp. Just always insane in practically any deck that has X1s, and Monumental Corruption, which can be a burst draw spell, but can also be a 5-mana burn spell if we need that extra bit of damage to finish someone off. Before we wrap up, I want to highlight 3 cards that just didn't make the cut, the first one being Academy Manufactor. Now, It sounds insane because we are making a lot of clues and therefore we get a bunch of food and treasure as well. But I felt like it was just a little bit win more. We are already making a lot of tokens, hopefully, with our clue generators. So yeah, I feel like this will just draw heat on us unnecessarily. The second card is Teysa, Envoy of Ghosts. It's a great top-end creature. Has a bit of that no mercy to it, but I've never really seen that trigger a whole lot. But I do like that it's unblockable, which means we could put on the cranial plating or put the exalted triggers on it. But at 7 mana, I don't know. I mean, I was on the fence with this one. Maybe it's coming down a little too late. I don't know. It was close. The last card, and it's really more of a price thing, is Delny, Streetwise Lookout. The Panharmonicon attached to it triggers Teysa twice, which I think is insane. The price is a little prohibitive at over $20 right now. If you did crack one in your PR kit, congratulations. She definitely deserves a spot in the deck. And that's it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed that video, and if you found it useful, I hope you could leave a like, share, and subscribe. Those things really help the channel out. The deck list is available in the description down below. You could follow me on Moxfield. I'm also called MTG Janktown over there. I might do one more MKM Commander unless Fallout gets spoiled. I am excited for those Fallout decks. But until next time, stay inspired, friends, and I'll see you soon.